first question is, why did you come to Harlow?
To get a job. I did a degree in Bristol University, and I looked at a number of career opportunities, and I had a number of possibilities where I could have gone anywhere in the country, but I happened to get a job in Harlow. And
So where were you from? Where were you
I
living?
grew up in Waltham Cross and Cheshunt, and I didn't intend to stay quite as close to home as I finished up doing, but I did. That was in 1964, and I've basically been here ever since.
And the job was on?
The job was at Standard Telecommunication Laboratories, an arm of Standard Telephones and Cables, in research, materials research, semiconductors primarily. I was making the techniques for making silicon chips and latterly lasers. So I've been through a fair amount of technological revolution, as it were, using computers from valves with paper tape through to the present generation. So I've been around in Harlow. And,
so the purpose of the uninitiated, Standard Telephone, where exactly in Harlow was that?
The laboratories were at on the old London Road between Harlow and Potter Street, close to what is now Church Langley, although of course that wasn't there at the time. It's the area that's currently being redeveloped as the KO Science Park.
So in many ways, finding someone like yourself who was an employee of Standard,
Yeah.
is STC or STL was it known?
Well, it was Standard Telecommunication Laboratories, STL, but it was the research arm of Standard Telephones and Cables, STC. Or as we used to say, STC sod the customer, STL sod the lot.
They aren't here to represent themselves, John.
So you can cut that bit.
Cut that out. So did you enjoy your work in there?
I did very much enjoyed it. I spent 35 years there, and I enjoyed 34 and a half of them, and then I started not enjoying it and decided at last I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, and that was retired. And it's the best thing I ever did.
But you also living in Harlow. So can you just describe the early days? Where did you move to?
I for the first 2 or 3 years, couple of years, I stayed with my parents in Cheshunt and commuted. And then I had a year out where I went to Bangor University to do a master's degree, and then I came back, got married, and was allocated a brand new flat in Bishopsfield. We stayed there for a couple of years. My wife got a job at Addenbrooke's Hospital and was commuting from Harlow to Cambridge before the M11, and so we then decided to move somewhere between, and we finished up at Stansted Mount Fitchett, where we stayed for 5 years. Then the family came along. We decided that Stansted Mount Fitchett was very much a commuter town and not very interesting, and we moved back to Harlow, which suited my wife much better. In fact, today I've met a friend that she made then in a group of what they called the National Housewives Register. It's an organisation of young mothers who wanted something else to do, and one of her friends turned up today here, so it was nice. But then we moved back after 5 years in Stansted, and I've been in the same house in Harlow ever since.
And out with your work, you've had other different civic
Oh
responsibilities.
yes. Well, I got involved with the Harlow Council for Voluntary Service, as did my wife. And then I was elected to Harlow Council, and I served intermittently for 15 years, over a period of about 20, because I was in a marginal ward that kept changing hands. But I did a total of 15 years.
And which ward was that?
I was in Kingsmore. And then the last term was in Little Palmer. I was first elected in 1984.
Okay.
I lost my seat in 1988. I was re-elected in 1990. I lost my seat in 1998 by 2 votes, which was a bit sickening because it was 6 months after I lost my wife. And then I came back for 3 years, 1999 to 2002, by which time I'd had enough and decided I'd do something else.
So taking the actual civic, that part of it as a job, as not job, as your responsibility as a councillor, is there any issues over those periods that you stand out to you as a councillor? What's going on in Harlow that you can recall?
Well, the things I think I contributed most to were, first of all, the redevelopment of Staple Tie, and then the Water Gardens development, which I had a lot to do with. I retired just as the project was launched. I was at the cutting the first sod ceremony 3 weeks before I retired, and I'm very proud of the outcome. I think it's a lovely development.
It is, and almost, I guess you would look, now we're going up to almost 2017, people look at the Water Gardens and then they compare and contrast the rest of the town centre, don't you? Which
Absolutely.
It seems to be an insuperable problem, doesn't it?
Well, we did have plans for town centre north, but I can't speak for what's happened since. But there's been economic recessions and so many changes of ownership, I think, of the property there. It really does need serious consideration, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but like the Market Square, the Town Square, it just seems to be. People aren't entirely convinced that there's proper leadership in that. Otherwise, we'd have seen something by now.
Well, yeah. I mean, I left in 2002, so it's it was one of my babies, and I would have been pushing it, but disappointed that nothing has happened.
Have you and are you still continuing to enjoy living in Harlow?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. I've been in the same house for over 40 years, and I've no plans to move. I've still got quite a bit of activity around. I'm active here today with the Family History Society that I joined at about the same time as I retired from the council, and I thought I'd do something for me for a change after serving the community for a long time. But I found myself running the society in the end, and I've been chair for the last, for 7 years anyway.
And you're here again. I've seen you around the town on several occasions.
Absolutely.
With the Essex Society Family History,
yes.
Clearly an active and proactive
Absolutely.
group.
Yeah.
So a little bit about because as we're here in St John's in Old Harlow, in case people want to know where we are, tell a little bit about the group and what type of work you do.
The group is the Essex Society for Family History. We're not concerned particularly where people's family history is. It's not just Essex people. We're concerned with family history generally. We have meetings in 5 centres across the town, monthly meetings with speakers. We run a website, which is now really the focus of our activity, where we have a large database of transcriptions of parish registers. Notably, most of the burials in Essex are there, baptisms and marriages. And also we've done about half the parishes in the churchyards in about half the parishes, recording the memorial inscriptions. And that's all searchable for our members.
So you're a busy group?
We're a busy group.
And is it a dedicated group of volunteers?
Yes, absolutely, yes. And we're bemoaning the fact that we urgently need some younger blood because we're all getting older.
And that, in some ways, for a lot of groups in Harlow, we're talking about, here we are in 2017, as part of this, 70 films I'm doing about why they came here. It's is almost the new blood, isn't it?
That's right.
For organisations.
Yes. I mean, I've been meeting people today that I've known from my council days who all bemoaning the fact that they're still going, and there's not the younger people coming in. Even the younger retired don't seem to be coming in. We're all 75 plus now, and it's not going to go on forever.
But you've, in conclusion, you from that decision to come to Harlow, you're pleased you've come to Harlow and pleased you've stayed.
Oh yes, it's a great place to live.
And Harlow thanks you, John, for all you've done.
Thank you.